Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What up? What is going on? How is everybody doing? Hope you had a good week. Welcome back to Turf Today, presented by Toro. And as always, this episode is recorded on the Superintendent Network. My name is Adam Kershane. I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Laurent. And today we bring you Brandon Razo, the golf course superintendent at Panther Creek Country Club in Springfield, Illinois. Some awesome stories, great insights. This was a really cool one to do. Hope everybody's enjoying their winter right now, whether it's, grinding through and having busy golf courses because everybody's flown down and is playing at your course, or you got things buttoned up and it's cold and we're working through it. But there's some beauty to the off season too. Quiet golf course, get to clean the shop, maybe not as many staff around. I've definitely talked to a few people lately that say they miss it, and I agree. I miss being out on the course all the time, and yeah, big part of it. So hope you're enjoying your winter. The golf season is right around the corner for a lot of you. The other thing we wanted to mention was, with everything going on down in LA, our thoughts are with everyone down there, whether you're someone who's volunteering, first responders, people that have lost homes, lost loved ones. It's not ideal down there right now. So our thoughts and prayers are with everybody down there because it's a serious situation. So I'm going to fire things down to Brian. We're going to get Brandon in here. But first, a word from our amazing sponsors, the Toro Company. See you soon, folks. Welcome to the Turf Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Toro. There's a lot of buzz about alternative power right now, and for good reason. Battery-powered equipment is super quiet, so it's less disruptive for operators and the neighbors. With Toro products, you can reduce emissions and save fuel without sacrificing power or performance. Electric or hybrid, gas or diesel, Toro's golf lineup gives you options. So whether you're mowing or hauling, you can always choose what's right for you. That's Toro. Always solving and always evolving. Morning, sir.
Morning. How was your workout?
That was good.
Yeah.
Good. It's amazing. You get on that thing for half an hour, how much you can sweat.
Did you get up on the leaderboard?
Yeah, and that's the problem with the Peloton. For a competitive athlete like myself, you start seeing yourself climbing, and then you're catching people, and then you see people that have finished. You're like, okay, I'm just picking them off one by one now, and then the class ends, and you're like, damn it. Yeah, usually in the top 20. Try to be if I can.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I like the new JJ Watt and TJ Watt commercial. Have you seen those for the Peloton yet?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
They keep getting the alerts, like one brother passed the other, so they run back home and jump on the Peloton to try and beat him and all that. It's great.
Nice. Yeah, they make it so much fun. It's such a positive environment. So I don't know if I could do it all summer, but it's a great one for the winter.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, what do you got going on?
Kids sports starting back up. So we've got hockey for the next 3 days and then getting back on the road on Sunday. So
nice.
Excited for that.
Was the big win. Ohio State took the Rose Bowl. So congratulations. It's must be exciting.
Yeah. Oh man, that was great.
Yeah. How many text chains do you have going like during the game? Are you just texting like all your buddies and all the old friends and everything?
Yeah, we get a few of them going. A lot of stuff here with the neighbors for sure, and Yeah, we get we get a few of them going during the games and after the games, and then figuring out where they're going to go play, and then talk to buddies that live down in that area, and
Hmm.
hey, you getting tickets, you going over there, and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's exciting. They definitely surprised me. I mean, the way they played against Michigan just didn't leave us with a whole lot of hope, but the last two games have been phenomenal. So it
Yeah,
was a great weekend of football too. I mean, that the Texas Arizona State game was unbelievable, and
very good.
obviously it wasn't a close game, but for us Ohio State fans, the Ohio State game was great, and Penn State game was good. I know we've got a lot of Penn State followers on there
That's
that,
right. They
that
could
listen
play each
here.
other,
So
I think, right? As they were showing the
yeah,
brackets, they could run into each other.
well, yeah, it'd be in the championship, or wait, yeah, championship game. Penn State plays Notre Dame next, and
Okay.
we've Ohio State's got Texas, so they
We
could
shall see.
potentially collide again in the championship. So we'll see. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of action still ahead. Two more games. Got the semifinals coming up next week, so should be good stuff, buddy.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know more and more people are following it up here in Canada. It's
Yeah,
really fun to watch, especially when it gets high scoring and they're just going back and forth and back and forth. Like it's good.
yeah.
It's good entertainment for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, the last couple minutes of that Texas game were just out of this world. We were so
Yeah.
sitting around with the kids. We were sitting here watching it, going absolutely bonkers. It was
Y-
great.
You can see everybody in the building is standing too. Like not a
Yeah.
person is sitting. Everybody's screaming. Like
Yeah.
that'd be such a fun atmosphere to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the playoffs have been a lot of fun. It's something new. Before they just had the four-team playoff, and you jump right to the semifinals. There's not a ton of mystery behind it, but with this 12-team playoff, it's been pretty neat. You get we've had some good games, some underdogs that made the playoffs that maybe shouldn't have been there, but it's just added a whole nother level of excitement. So it's been a good year one for sure.
Oh yeah. It'll be fun to see
Yeah.
how it pans out because we're recording early January right now. This episode will come out on the 14th, so there will be some movement by the time this actually does come out. So
Yeah.
it'll be exciting to see how it does pan out. I wanted to ask you, I had a few people reaching out just about the show with little questions and things, which is great. But a couple
Cool.
people have asked, what do you guys love about the show, or what's your kind of your favorite part about the show? And there's a lot that goes on, so I don't know if you have something that you really enjoy when you go there, something you really look forward to going down to. I don't know if it's just San Diego or any of the shows in general.
Oh man, the show it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. It's an opportunity to reconnect. Everyone gets busy during the season, and it's tough to constantly stay connected with friends from around the country, whether it's guys you went to school with, worked with at certain places or whatever. It's just that opportunity to connect with everyone in person. It's one thing to text with these guys or have a phone call or whatever, but to sit down, break bread, grab a drink, with these people that either just your buddies or mentors that have been instrumental in your career development. Having the opportunity to sit down and see these people in person, it's by far my favorite part of the week. Obviously there's a lot of good that comes out of the show from an education standpoint, from the trade show itself, and seeing all the new tools and exciting trends and technology coming into the industry, but just being there with the people, that's always my favorite part. I used to run a trade show here in Ohio for many years, and that was always the focus. What can we do from a hospitality entertainment standpoint to encourage the networking amongst peers? Because obviously, we hear it on the show all the time. What's your favorite part of the industry? It's the people. And so
Mhm.
having that opportunity to connect with people in person is always hands down my favorite part of the show. How about you? How many have you been to?
This will be my third. I've done
Okay.
Orlando and Phoenix, and then now San Diego. So this will be number three for me. And you're right. The people are what makes this industry so great and why we're thriving right now. And the atmosphere is so cool. Being in a
Yeah.
place where everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's kind of has that same frame of mind. Everybody's enjoying the turf because with our industry, not a lot of people understand what we do, or they don't really want to kind of, get behind closed doors and actually see what's going on. So for us to be in that atmosphere where everybody is like-minded, everybody is, enjoying themselves and happy to be there, it's such an incredible thing. I remember my first time I snuck into Orlando. I snuck onto the trade show floor the day before, and they were just
You
setting
snuck
everything
in.
up. Yeah, well, I mean, there was a bunch of people in there, but you weren't supposed to be in there, and I
Yeah.
went in, and it was cool. I got some good content for Turf Today, but just I was just blown away. I'm just walking around,
Yeah.
you see all the big signs and how much money companies are putting into their booths and all the equipment that's in there. They're building a green and bunkers and
Yeah.
grandstands and speak like it blew me away. So if anybody's thinking about going or teeter-tottering or putting pressure on their club, like really, really think about it because it's worth it.
Yeah, 100%. It's totally worth it. And like you said, I mean, just the amount of money that companies are putting into being there it's significant, and that's one of the things that we try and I try to tell any of our support system, any of our followers or whatever, support those that support you, and the investment that those folks are putting into that show, into the GCSAA as an organization. It speaks volumes. And, I just hope people take the time to go around and say thank you to those vendors for being there. Listen to them. It's what I constantly tell people, our sponsors, like, look, we're not going to make the sale for you, but we can help get get the foot in the door. Right. And I just hope people kind of take that opportunity to say thank you, listen to what they have to say. If it's right for your course, obviously then you're the one that makes that ultimate decision. But, they're making a significant investment into the industry by being a part of that show. And, hopefully people take the time to go around and check out what they have to offer and say thank you for their support, because GCSAA really does a lot. Obviously, we talked to Rhett, talked a little bit about some of the behind the scenes stuff, but they really are a fantastic organization doing great things for this industry. And that show is a big part of what helps that whole organization continue to tick.
They all do a fantastic job, whether it's the vendors
Yeah.
and the GCSAA. And you have to look at it from the vendors' point of view too. They're very happy to be there. It's very exciting. Like they have spent a bunch of money. They're putting
Yeah.
new products out. They're there to really advertise what they have going on. So if you're somebody who's maybe hesitant to go into their booth, or you don't know much about it, or it doesn't look like it's very welcoming, just get past that. Just get in there, shake some hands, meet some people, grab a card, grab a sticker. You never know when you're going to cross paths with somebody who knows somebody else in this industry. It's such a small, tight circle. So I remember my first trade
Yeah.
show, I was not, I wouldn't say scared, but you're just kind of walking around. You don't know anybody. You're just seeing all these brands and things like that. And I didn't do a very good job of going up to some of the booths and meeting people. And the
Yeah.
second time on the show, I was a little bit more free, and I went around and, shook some more hands and grabbed some more cards. And it's good to meet more people and have those contacts. So,
Yeah.
like I said, the vendors are so welcoming. They want you to come and see them. They want to meet you. They want to kind of get to know you and see what you like or what you need at your course. So it's all good stuff. Everybody there's got a
Yeah.
smile on their face. They're happy to be there.
Yeah, it's always fun, right? When you walk around, it's that awkward situation, where you're walking by a booth where there may not happen to be anyone else there, and you've got the one attendant just kind of standing there, awkwardly, like, please look at
Yeah.
me and say hi.
Yeah.
Please look at me and say hi so I can start a conversation. It's just get through that, right?
Yeah.
Get through
Just,
that.
yeah.
Go up, hey, someone's there. Hey, how you doing? What do you have? Just break the ice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know that, people are on this side of the industry. I think sometimes for a reason they might be a little more introverted, so that is a little uncomfortable just to step up to someone and shake their hand and
Hmm.
hey, what do you have to offer? But that's the best part of it. And we always encourage people to kind of get outside their comfort zone a little bit and take a chance. So yeah, hopefully people do that. Hopefully people just kind of go up and shake hands and see what's going on. And lot of exciting stuff this year.
Oh my gosh, some of the stuff
There's
I've
going to be
seen,
some
some of
cool
the
stuff.
previews and stuff, it's gonna be wild. It
Yeah.
seems like it's getting
Yeah.
bigger and bigger every year now.
It is, yeah. I can't wait to see, our title sponsors there at Toro have some really cool things coming up. So I'm excited to go see that new technology.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Look at that guy. He knows our sponsor too. He's
Oh, all
got the
right.
Toro swag on.
Beautiful.
Atta boy.
Knows what he's doing.
Atta
Prepared.
boy.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Not much, just slow time of the year, so just kind of getting stuff organized for next year, getting ready for the show. So
Good. Did you enjoy the holidays?
I did. I had pretty good Christmas. Spent a lot of time with the wife and kids, and we did a lot of fine dining.
That's what I heard you
Nice.
say, man. What'd you
Yeah,
do, Ruth's Chris?
we did that twice,
Oh man.
and then
Ooh.
Eddie Merlot's one night.
Nice. You
Would
got
you
to
go
take
into
advantage, right? It's the holidays.
Yeah,
did you go into Fort Wayne or what?
yeah, yeah. We were in
Okay.
Fort Wayne, so we took it was me, Miranda, and the girls for the first night. We've kind of been doing that every year to just like give them the experience and not have to buy them as much crap.
Yep.
And then Miranda had the wise idea, well, let's take your mom and brother. I was like, all right. So then we did that the next week. And then my friends had reservations for us for New Year's Eve. So we went ahead and went out to dinner with them to Eddie Merlot's, and then Miranda and I got on the road on New Year's morning and came over to Illinois.
Oh man. I was gonna say, are you guys back in one household now? Is she with you all the
Uh,
time or is it back
so
and forth?
so it's gonna be more this year of her staying here and moving here, and maybe just going back home for like a week at a time, just to make sure everything with the house is fine and that Lexi hasn't burned it down yet. So it's gonna work. We're kind of wait until the end of this fall to kind of see where everything goes and
Yeah.
start looking for an actual house here and stuff like that. So,
Gotcha. So for all of our listeners that may not know who you are, Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah, well, my name is Brandon Razo. I'm the golf course superintendent at Panther Creek Country Club in Springfield, Illinois. Just got done with my second season here. I'm a graduate of Penn State through their turf program. Well, besides the golf stuff, I do the state rankings for Indiana Girls High School Wrestling for IndianaMat.com. Just got done doing an update this morning because their sectionals start today for the state tournament. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then getting into the industry, I started with your father. So,
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely
cross
have to dig into that story for sure.
Decatur, Indiana. There's something in the water about putting out superintendents, right? I
yeah,
mean, you got Majorki, Frichty, Dad, you.
yeah.
It's great.
It's good just coming from a small course like that and seeing where everyone's gotten to.
Absolutely, yeah. So tell us how did you get started there in Decatur?
Um, so back when I got into the industry, at first I was doing construction. My family has always been huge in construction, finishing concrete. So I got into that with the union, with the family, and was doing that. And then the economy kind of slowed down. Construction really slowed down, so I was kind of laid off. And your dad had it posted. He was looking for someone to help change cups on weekends there at Cross Creek. And so I was like, well, I might as well do that. I'm golfing, so it'll get me free golf. So I started doing that and through the end of the fall. And then when the spring rolled around, I just kind of talked to Terry and Drew and was like, can you guys maybe put me on, full time? And they did. And from there, I grew to love it. I enjoyed being outside and I enjoyed, just seeing what happens after you do your work, how good everything looked and stuff like that. So that kind of got me interested a little more. So Terry got me the information to get into Penn State. And so I did the online program there and got through that. And the rest is kind of history. I went over to Columbus for a year to Wedgwood Golf and Country Club and came back. And when I came back to Cross Creek, it went from there. I just took over and started running the show, and now I made the jump to Panther Creek and get to host a Corn Ferry event. So I'm pretty happy right now.
I love hearing stories about that. You just kind of get your foot in the door, love golf, love being on the golf course, and it just sort of escalates to the next thing, to the next thing. And now here you are, superintendent of your own golf course. That's the story we need to hear more of now. There's so many people that love golf. Why not get into this industry and help the golf world? Like, we need more of it. So that's so cool, Brandon. While we're on the subject, is there any good Terry stories? Is there anything? Yeah, I know he's been a guest on the show and definitely listens to the show, so can't be throwing him under the bus or anything. But there must be some good memories.
Well, one of the best things with him was uh, every morning, like when he came in and stuff, like he always started with, "Let's see how we're going to do this today." Like that's how he started out, to figure out who was going to do what. But it was always almost every time, let's see how we're going to do this today. So that was just kind of a joke between all of us after when he wasn't really out in the shop. We'd be like, oh, how are we going to do this today? And just go with the day. But for a lot of it, I really wasn't around Terry as much as I wanted because it got to the point where he was doing two courses at once. So he was spending time at Eagle Glen and, he felt comfortable with me and Drew, being at Cross Creek and kind of handling that. So yeah, not too many funny stories with Terry, but that was just something that always stick with us is, let's see how we're going to do this today.
Yeah. And that a lot of that stems from because you guys, Ray was basically keeping stuff together with duct tape and hot glue. So, that was probably part of the magic in the morning too. Let's see how we're going to get this done today.
Let's see what turns on this morning.
Yeah, very, very low budget course. And, and then we decided to, go from 18 to 27 holes on the same budget. So, it was trying to take care of 27 holes on like a $250,000 budget. It was tough, but we got it done. I had some just great employees there. I mean, Decatur's it's a great town. It's a great golf community at Cross Creek. I mean, almost everyone that lives on the course golfs. So all the events are always full. The course is always full with people. So it's just a really fun place.
Yeah, the DFL league was always my favorite night of the week.
when that DFL thing was going, so on Friday nights at Cross Creek, they called it DFL, Drunk Friday League.
Nice.
And it would just
nice.
You would sign up and it'd be a random scramble, a 4-man scramble, and just 9 holes. But as you went, when you finished on 9, you just kind of stayed there and you parked around the green. So there were some nights where there could be like 70 some people. So you're teeing off as there's people finishing and waiting. So if you're in the first groups, you're sitting there and you're done and you're just drinking. So it just keeps getting rowdier and rowdier until it finishes. And then everyone would go into the bar and the winning team would buy everyone a drink, stuff like that. Or if there was a tie, there'd be a big chip off. So then the whole bar's watching it from the deck and stuff like that. It was, DFL was fun when it was going.
A-Plus Rewards are back. The Andersons A-Plus Rewards program offers turf managers the best opportunity to earn rewards on our newest and most popular products. Qualify with purchases of Contec DG, Fulltech SG, Castaway DG, Goosegrass, Crabgrass Control, and more. Don't miss this opportunity. The average reward for last year's program? More than $250. For a complete list of qualifying products, visit andersonspro.com. Limited time offer available to U.S. customers only.
So what kind of stuff? I mean, you mentioned, literally a mom and pop budget type golf course, and now you're at a place where you're hosting Corn Ferry events. I mean, what kind of tips and tricks or what kind of stuff are you taking from that mindset of just kind of having to make things work to where you are now?
Yeah, so it was just that mindset of, doing more with less, trying to figure out, little things of, how could I save money doing things a different way? And that's how it was at Cross Creek. I wasn't able to top dress as much as I wanted. So, I have to come up with different ways to kind of change it up and do it when I could or find other ways, to kind of help with the greens, like, using stuff like the turf trainers on there to help with the grain and stuff like that. Just purchases like that. At the time it could be a big cost, but it really would help with the greens and stuff like that, and keeping them a little smoother and helping with the roll.
Nice. And then you guys obviously, like Brian said, you guys host Corn Ferry tournaments. So what do you guys do to kind of beef up? Do you bring in any extra volunteers or anything like that?
Yeah, so we bring in a few volunteers. It's mostly I got great vendors around here in the Central Illinois area. So they do a lot with helping with meals and helping mow and do everything like that. So that's usually our volunteers. We'll bring in a few others from some of the area courses too to kind of help out. But the thing that helps us with our tournament is 2 weeks before the tournament is our member guest. So we already have the course pretty much going into full swing, heading into member guest to help set us up for the tournament. So like advance week for us is, pretty easy. Just maybe hitting a couple punch list items because we're basically we already have the course, ready. And then it's just kind of planning, the timing right to get the speeds for the greens right once the agronomist gets into town. So beefing up for the course has become pretty easy since we have that member guest right before it. So it's a long month. The month of June it's hard on us, but we enjoy it. Once we're done with both events, we know we have the rest of the summer to not really ease through, but all our bigger stuff is pretty much done, and then we just have our focus of daily maintenance and keeping the course up to par.
I know you did a lot of volunteer work over the years and went to several events. Talk about, the difference or maybe some of the benefits of having that experience volunteering for events and then now hosting your own.
So I've done the Memorial once, the President's Cup when it was at Liberty National. Been down to the Tour Championship at East Lake when Tiger won. That was amazing. Got a little story for that.
Nice.
But it's neat to see, in a way, everyone kind of does the stuff the same way. But then again, people have different ways of doing stuff. So just picking up different techniques or, just ways some of these places may go about the way they do their, divot mix, the way they might mix it a certain way, or they might do it in the back of a workman, or they may just do it in buckets. Just figuring out ways, what's going to help me to get my job done here on my course quicker. So just picking up stuff like that, seeing how these other tournaments, how they just run their routine with mowing everything when they're sending stuff out, kind of learning certain timings and stuff with that, and knowing how quickly you got to move and how much time you have, like with players behind you, because it changes with the courses and with the players. So there's always been a way of taking something away from every tournament I've worked at. And also it's how I've met so many people too, and created friendships and networking that way. So, if you have a chance, get out there, get to a tournament, help volunteer. It's only going to benefit you. I mean, you can't be a person that, goes tournament, like a bunch through a year, because, then it might be like, well, what are you doing with your own course if you're spending all this time going to volunteer? But if you can find a way to do one a year or one every other year or something like that, do it. It's only going to help you. It's only going to help you grow. Even if you've been in the industry for 20 some years, it's worth it if you've never been in a tournament setting to see what it's like. Because once I went to Murfield for my very first tournament, I was hooked. From there on, I knew I wanted to do tournament golf. That's what I wanted to do. I know it's a hard grind, but I love that, getting there early, being there late, and being able to see players and fans enjoy your course. It's worth it in the end.
That's solid advice. I think everybody working in this industry, whether it's 1 year or 20 years, you got to go to a tournament, got to volunteer, you got to take it in, see the big scale, because it's so cool. We're not going to mull over a tiger story here on the podcast, so we got to go back to that one.
Yeah, so the year I was there at Eastlake was at 2018 when he won it. So I think it was that Saturday where we're getting out, kind of starting to do our evening jobs. When I was at Eastlake, I was helping with bunkers, and we're on the other end of the course, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd erupt, and you literally you felt the ground shake a little, and we just looked at each other like we knew what happened. We were like, Tiger just did something big. So just being a part of that was so neat to just feel the ground shake and the roar of the crowd, and it's on the other side of the course. I think that same day, or maybe it was Sunday. No, it was, I think Saturday. He had a shot out of a fairway bunker that he just, it was a perfect shot. He ended up birdieing out of the bunker, out of the fairway bunker. But we were kind of started following him, and we were probably about 20 yards from him, kind of looking through the trees when he hit that shot. And he hits that shot, and we see what happens. We're like, oh my gosh. And then we look at each other. We're like, hey, we raked that bunker today for him. He had a perfect shot for it. And then being able to just the crowd following him up that 18 fairway for that tournament. It was just a neat experience to be able to be at a tournament that someone you watched growing up, kind of returns and has a big moment. So that was, I'll always remember being there at Eastlake and just feeling that ground shake.
I was wondering, did you stick around for the Sunday finish then, or did you already make your way home?
I was there most of the day, but then had the flight, so I had to cut out right before the end of it. But it was still great to be there for that.
And the tiger roar is something you'll never forget. That is a sound once you hear it.
When he was making that run on that Saturday, like it just, and it got the whole crew pumped up too. Like everyone was like, this is awesome. This is great. Tiger's going to do this. So yeah, when you get into experience that, because anything else I've ever worked at, I think there was one tournament he played in, the President's Cup. I think he was a captain for that. So, he wasn't playing. So it was pretty cool. That's an experience I'll always remember.
He just brings a whole different level of excitement to the game. Like even the PNC that was last weekend or whatever, I think we talked about it our last show, like that finish was probably the best finish of the year, and it's Tiger and Charlie versus Bernhard and his son, right? And it's just like so captivating just because it's Tiger, anytime he's in the hunt, it's a new ball game. It's great.
Yeah, I mean he changed the sport for us, how Michael Jackson, or not Michael Jackson, well, he did that with music, but
Yeah.
Michael Jordan with Michael Jordan with basketball, us growing up, it set a tone of greatness, and to be able to still witness it, even though he's not winning stuff, and what it's done for our sport and, even our industry. I mean, the golf course industry grew because of him. People started getting in and playing. So it's just been a great thing for our generational period.
So having witnessed, some of those PGA Tour events, at Eastlake, Muirfield, President's Cup, out at Liberty, I mean, what's the difference maybe between that PGA Tour primetime event and a Corn Ferry event? Is there different expectations? What do you see as some of the differences or similarities?
I think it's a lot of the same. I mean, we're still trying to get the course as good as possible, as the best courses there are in the world. Just trying to time everything right to get, the course at peak condition for that tournament. So in a way, it's similar to that, but you also, we're not in a spot where we have 30, 40 volunteers. We're still pretty much doing it with our staff and a handful of people. For us, it's figuring out a way to get through everything quickly, efficiently, and making sure everything's looks as good as it can. But when it comes to like the actual tournament, the golfing, it's exactly the same. Like these Corn Ferry guys are just as good as the guys on the regular tour. The only smidge is just a little bit of a smidge of a difference, and it's just the short game. It's the putts, it's the chips. Because these guys they can get out there and they'll knock the ball a mile. They'll throw darts all day, and if they get on a roll with putting, I mean, they come here and a winning score is like 27 under, and it's like
and it's not a scramble.
Yeah, and it's the Corn Ferry Tour. Like it just it makes you just wonder, and you have your club champion that's only going out there and maybe shooting a couple under, and you got these guys coming in and just like it's a piece of cake, just dropping,
picking it apart.
Yeah, and it just at that point as a super, it kind of makes you like, are you kidding me right now?
Fucking guys.
But then again, that's just how good they are, and people don't realize how good these golfers on the Corn Ferry Tour are.
Yeah, it's insane. You've got the courses firm and fast, and pin locations. You got the tour pick in difficult spots, and they just still go out and just absolutely light it up.
It's crazy, but it's fun. It's worth it.
Works out perfectly for you. You got your member guest the week before, though. Like or 2 weeks before. Like that couldn't work out better for you. I was going to ask you, do you have a bit of a short list? Like, is there any other tournaments you'd love to volunteer or be a part of, or a course you'd love to visit to, pick a super's brain or something like that?
Names really aren't popping off the top of my head, but being around some of the people that has hosted maybe some majors, and kind of learning from them, would be nice. For me, I don't know, like it's funny, just this weekend, my one buddy, who's a surgeon, he always like, I'm doing this now. He's like, but I'm gonna retire and mow greens for you. He's like, and then he said something about, maybe one day at Augusta, and I looked at him and I was like, I don't want to go to Augusta. Like it's a great course, but for some reason that's just, I'd probably be fine with other courses, but that's just not on my top of my list to be the superintendent at Augusta National. Just seeing how it goes there and stuff like that. It's like that. I don't want that much stress in my life. So, yeah, but just getting out like to some of the bigger courses, it'd be nice to kind of see how they run their operations and stuff. But for me, I feel more benefits going to and checking out smaller courses or medium, level clubs and just seeing how they produce what they're doing. Especially being someone that came from a smaller course, everyone gets focused on the biggest courses, and puts so much focus on them when there's so much talent out there in our industry at these other courses. So it's really nice to just go and see what these guys are doing and how well their courses are.
Yeah, I was going to say that the correct answer, if I can step back, is you want to go to the Boise Open at Hillcrest with Gorlami.
There we go.
That would be, yes, that would be fun to either get out there to Boise to his course to help him, or if he could even swing it to come to Springfield. Heck, in June in Idaho, do they still have snow? I mean, I don't know.
No, but from the sounds of it, he kept telling us, it's like 95 degrees, but no humidity or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, Gorlami. He used to be a professional volunteer and go to all these events, but he's got a little different scenario now. But but all joking aside, I mean, I told Adam you're part of our little group communication chain there. What benefit do some of those tools and being a part of some of those tech change and stuff, what kind of benefit does that have for you?
Oh, it's been absolutely great. I mean, being able to be in a group with about 10 guys and everyone knows what everyone's going through when it comes to our jobs. We may get on there and vent a little bit, but we're also there for each other to pick each other up, let people know, it's going to be all right. We've picked up just in general friendships. Like we've done so much for each other outside of anything to do with golf. If there's something wrong with someone in a family or someone going through something, we right away we pitch in, we buy them dinner, we send gift baskets. We've grown into a good group of friends, and not just in this industry, but in anything. You need that. And it kind of reminds me a little bit, over New Year's being home, and the girls are 22, 21, and 19, and just listening to the kind of squabble that they have with friends. And I'm just thinking, I've never had that with my friends. That I've grown up with. And now I have a group of guys from all over the US that works better than, some of these other like friendships and people hanging out with each other. Like it's been nice just being able to have those people behind you with anything you do, to congratulate you, or if something bad happens, to pick you up. I look at our group more of, yeah, I might still have questions or something to do with what I'm doing at my job, but I'd rather know what's going on in your guys' lives and making sure everything's okay with that, because that's what I think has kind of kept us going, and it makes our jobs a lot better, knowing that we have that group of guys to fall back on.
Yeah, the support in our industry is incredible. It's one of the things
Yeah.
that shocked me right away, that we are competing with other people, but there's so much support and everybody just kind of wants to see everybody succeed, and that's so great. I wanted to ask you about school, if we could go back a little bit. So you took Penn State online. You did that while
Yes.
you were working. I know a
Yeah,
few
so
guys that are kind of going through that right now, and I'd love for you to kind of talk about what that's like, what the school schedule's like, how you can kind of pick it, how you kind of went through it all. Because it is amazing that you can kind of have a career, work, and get your schooling done at the same time.
Yeah, so doing it online, it's not like you don't have a scheduled time. It's not like you have a 9 o'clock class or an 11:15 class or something like that. It's you have to go at your own pace. You get your itinerary, and it basically tells you through the year, this has to be done. This is what you're doing this week. So a lot of it has to be on yourself. You have to be disciplined, and you have to be focused to be able to do it on your own. And that's what at first when I started to go to school right after high school, I was going to be a math teacher. But then after about 3 semesters and seeing how much more math I had to take, and I had been taking calculus since like I was a sophomore in high school, I was over it. So I kind of switched, but then I got into that routine of not going to class and stuff. So it was just bad. I wish I would have. I stayed home and went to a school in Fort Wayne, so that didn't help because then you don't want to leave your house. So I wish I would have went away. But then when I got to a point with Penn State, I realized what I had done in the past and knew, especially since I'm doing it on my own online, I really had to stay focused, really had to stay disciplined. So I just kind of would go to work, do my job, and then depending on what classes and when stuff had to be done, that was my focus right when I got home. The first couple hours was making sure I had everything done, all the schoolwork, getting through that stuff, and just kind of staying focused on that. And it was tough to do, but it was also easy to get through. The teachers with Penn State are very good in helping you out and understanding the material. I was lucky if there was group stuff for some of my classes. I was lucky to have good people to work with, even even though it was online and through video and stuff like that. It worked out. So if you're, it's possible. You can work a full-time job. You can, either just be a crew member or, when I was doing the Penn State thing, I had just got hired as a second assistant at Wedgwood. So, I was already working and growing, and they knew I was doing that. So while I was at Wedgwood, that's when I finished my degree. Yeah, it is possible. And I definitely recommend if you have a chance and you'd want to do like an online program, do it. You're going to learn a lot, and it's also easy if while you're working to adapt what you're learning to your job. So I definitely recommend, there's people out there still wanting to get an education, still wanting some type of degree. Go the online route. It's there, and it's the same piece of paper you're going to get as if you were there at the school. So I definitely recommend it.
I was going to ask. I mean, do you ever look back and maybe wish you had that in-person experience versus the online, or was it just the right situation for you and it worked out?
At the time, it was the right situation for me. Like I said, when I was younger, I wish I would have went away to college, because I think it would have put that more effect on me, and that discipline of, hey, you got to do this. Like, you're not at home. You really need to do your stuff. And that was difficult, because especially through high school, I mean, I was a really good student, like had really good grades. And then, the college atmosphere, like I just kind of didn't adapt. I think I would have adapted better if I would have went somewhere. But at the right time, I feel doing that online course was the right choice to do, because at the time I just really wouldn't have seen me, heading out east or something like that to go to school.
I love how you talk about that, because I think it's something that is common with people in this industry that maybe go to school a little bit later. They try something out, whether it's a big university or go to a different trade or something, and it's not for them, or maybe they're partying too much or whatever the case may be. We've heard it before on this podcast. But then when you start learning about turf and you decide to go to school, you think of it, this is an investment. This is going to be the rest of my life or my career, whatever it is that I want. So why not put the effort in? Why not buckle down and actually get the work done? And like you said, you put the work in, and it paid off. And whether you were in school to learn it or you're at home at your own pace, no one's going to hold your hand. You got to do the work. And whether you have great teachers or not, you got to do the work. So, big ups to you for making that happen, because it catapulted your career to where you are now, and who knows where it's going to take you. So that's awesome, man. And I encourage anybody listening to this, if you're thinking about it and you're interested in this, give it a shot, because you might love it and you might get motivated to do even more. So, all right. Well, I think we should get into some of the fun stuff, because you wrote a few exciting things for us on the questionnaire. You were caught potentially chasing a piece of equipment down a fairway at one point.
Well, it wasn't the fairway. So
No?
I was spraying greens, and I had to get off to pull the flag, or maybe I was putting the flag back in, not sure. But I had the sprayer kind of parked over on the edge of the green. Well, there was just a little bit of slope on it, but it was still kind of sitting there, wasn't really moving. And the sprayer I had was a really old, like Toro 1250 sprayer. I had a cab on it. So I'm either pulling the flag or putting the flag back in, and I look back, and all of a sudden I just see the sprayer rolling backwards and heading towards the pond.
No.
I'm like, oh no. I take off on a dead sprint. I get to the sprayer. I grab the door, and as I grab the door, the grass is wet. So then I slip and I fall backwards. I'm holding on to the door, and it slowed it down just a little bit. And then I was able to pop back up and hop back in to the sprayer and, hit the brake and stop it. I had about maybe 20 more yards before it got to the pond. But yeah, that was something else. Just looking back, and in your mind, you're going, oh no.
Yeah.
But getting there. And then the worst part was just slipping and falling, trying to get it to stop.
Yeah. Good
What's
thing
the
you didn't go
punishment?
underneath it.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And then luckily there wasn't anyone there to witness it. So
No. So it didn't actually happen then. Everything was good.
Yeah.
That's right. You just spilled the beans.
So this may actually be one of the first times someone actually hearing about this. I don't really know if I've ever really
Was
told
that at
anyone
Panther
about
Creek
that.
or Cross Creek?
That
or
was
what?
at Cross Creek, so it would have been on
Okay.
hole one.
Okay. Yep. Just
all
to the
that
right of the
damage
cart
on the
path
right
there.
side.
Right of the cart path, and it
Oh
was
man.
starting to roll that way.
Well, that's a visible spot. I guarantee there were some homeowners sitting there having a cup of coffee in the morning that
There
saw
probably
you.
Did you
was.
see that
Yeah.
guy?
That's a pretty visible
Yeah,
spot.
a homeowner probably did see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And I think I know the excavator story too. I think I'm pretty sure I remember that one. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so while we were doing the construction of the new part of the course at Cross Creek, at the time we had actually just got done building our house back there on the new part. Um, so as the construction was going on, I was basically living on it, and I just happened to. It was right around Thanksgiving, and I remember looking out, and I could see across. I lived on what was going to be hole 9, but there were still no houses. And over on hole 8 was where we were still doing some work. And so the excavator was out there. And I, was kind of, looked and saw it there. And then all of a sudden, about 2 days later, the guy that was doing the shaping and doing all that stuff for us, he gives me a call and he's like, "Hey, where's the excavator?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? It should be out there hole 8." He's like, "I'm out here and it's not here." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." So we get out there. Sure enough, someone had stolen the excavator.
God. No key in it?
The key must have been in it. I don't know because I wasn't using it. But right away, we kind of knew who it probably was that stole it. We had an idea. We figured it was one of the owner's son.
Oh,
That
man.
we kind of figured it was him and stuff. But finally, I think it only took maybe a few weeks, and they ended up finding the excavator down in Kentucky. And it was exactly who we thought it was that did it. Just had it. Basically, I don't know the way it sounds. I think he basically told a buddy he could use it. He thought it was his too. Um, so
I was gonna say
yeah,
that's not like a simple pawn. It's not like stealing a bike and taking it to the pawn
no,
shop.
like they,
No,
they
Right?
had
Like,
to look, they had to load it up on a trailer and stuff. And people out there that, probably weren't really thinking anything of it when it happened. Someone probably saw it happen, or maybe they didn't, because I guarantee it probably got picked up in the dark. Um, but yeah, we found it. We got the excavator back. But yeah, that was just crazy to have a something like that stolen.
that is nuts. That is nuts. I want to talk a little bit about you're starting to collect ribbons as much as, again, going back to our friend Gorlami there. You've been pretty active in the local association. I know recently you got the Emerging Leader Award with the GCSAA. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah, for 2023, I got the Emerging Leader Award from the GCSAA. The award is for someone that's been a superintendent less than 5 years, that's been, involved in the industry. So basically, right away, back when, what was it? I think it was like 2017. I think it was when I got invited to the Green Start Academy. So when I was there, I forget who said it, but someone was like, get involved in any way possible, get involved. And I've always been someone that's been a big volunteer for stuff with coaching and, stuff with the Shriners and stuff like that. I've always been someone that gives back. So I took that getting involved, like, okay, I'm going to get involved. So right away, I got involved with the local chapter, hopped right on to the board with that, worked through that, was president of the Hoosier Association. And then as soon as I got over to Illinois, they got me on this chapter to start helping on the board too. But also I started serving on, volunteering and being on task groups with the GCSAA. At first when you start out, it's just some Zoom stuff and it's little stuff. Like I was on like a technology thing. It was when they're kind of, going over stuff with the website and trying to develop the app and stuff like that. I've helped do the one for like the scholarships, judging scholarships. And lately I've been able to be on some bigger ones, like doing the chapter outreach task group and being able to go out to headquarters for that. The past 2 years, I've helped with the education conference for everything at the show out there at headquarters the last 2 years, kind of going through all the proposals. We judge them what we think is good, what we think and we probably shouldn't do, or does someone really have 4 hours worth to talk on this subject, stuff like that. So that kind of being involved with stuff like that, and I think that's pretty much what got me to that award. They saw me as someone relatively new to the industry, as a superintendent, and since I've been in this industry, I've been 100%, behind the GCSAA. So,
Well, good for you, Brandon. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that award. And it's so great to provide that kind of service. And was it somebody that told you to kind of get involved and do more and provide that kind of service to, local chapters and the big GCSAA?
yeah, but I can't remember who said it there at the Green Start Academy. It may have been Bob Farron that said it, or may have been whoever, I think, who was at Atlanta at that time. It may have been him. But yeah, when they said get involved, that just clicked with me, because I knew I wanted to grow. I knew I wanted to go to bigger and better things. That's why I wanted, to go to something like Green Start Academy. That's what helps you realize what it takes to jump from being an assistant to a superintendent. So yeah, for me, getting involved, it's probably been my biggest accomplishment for helping me get to where I am. Just meeting people and stuff like that, and networking, and just it's constant learning is what it is. And it doesn't matter if the task group is something small or the task group's something big. Every task group that you could help be a part of has something to do with our industry, and it's only going to benefit everyone. So, I mean, if you have a chance, help out. A lot of this stuff, it doesn't take much time. And if it's a task group that you end up being able to go to headquarters for, you're taking a couple days out of your time.
Turf Today is also proudly brought to you by Flash Weather AI. I can't tell you all about Flash Weather AI because there's a lot of pieces to it. You got to check them out, any of their social media platforms or online, and take it from Ryan Cole, Director of Golf at the Columbus Country Club.
Flash Weather AI is what our staff and members trust. It allows us to pull our members and our guests off the golf course in the safest, most efficient way possible. With Flash at Columbus Country Club, we're always one step ahead of the weather.
You can find them online at flashweather.ai.
I think one of my favorite things about your story, Brandon, is that I think the perception potentially in the industry is that in order to be involved, whether it's GCSAA or to go volunteer at an event or go to things, like you mentioned, the Green Start Academy or whatever, any of those big conferences, I think there might be a perception out there that, oh, that's only for the guys at the big courses. You're coming from a mom and pop golf course and with aspirations of furthering your career, getting into tournament golf and that kind of stuff. And that takes a big leap of faith, I think, right? It takes that self-discipline, that self-desire of wanting to advance yourself, to be able to kind of put yourself out on the line and say, look, I want this, I want to develop, I want to grow. So kudos to you for kind of taking that leap of faith and jumping forward. But I mean, I guess, what is it, how did you decide ultimately to take that leap of faith and just say, look, I'm going to put myself out there and I want to be involved. I want to go do this stuff.
I think a lot of it was, I was especially at a point where was just getting married. all of a sudden I had three teenage daughters. So I knew I needed to do something more to benefit me and my family. And I knew, sticking at Cross Creek, as much as I love it, and it was my hometown and stuff like that, I knew I needed more. I knew I wanted more. So, and being, well, where I come from, being a part of the Belmont Wrestling, um, all we do is chase success, work hard. It's instilled in us when we're little kids, and we take that work ethic all the way through with everything in our careers. And I think that's kind of what was established in me. And I knew if I'm going to do something, I want to do it well, and I want to go as far as I can with it to where I'm definitely happy. And I know I felt like I was very successful.
I think people think Indiana, basketball is king in Indiana, but wrestling is pretty huge too.
Yeah, it's really, especially over the past decade, it's, if you look at a lot of the, with the Olympians, I mean, and world-class athletes, we got a handful from Indiana right now,
Yeah.
especially with girls wrestling. And we just had Olympic champion with Sarah Hildebrandt. So, yeah,
Something in the water over there. Superintendents and wrestlers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's and not to obviously he's my father, so I'm a little biased. But I mean, is that something that my dad kind of helped shine a light on for you as well? Going to volunteer and kind of pushing you to get involved. I know he was involved with the Hoosier chapter and Penn State Turf.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, Terry did a great job with answering my questions. When it got to the point of, this is really what I want to step into, and we started talking about the whole Penn State thing, and he went over telling me, the story of how, him having to go through it and with the family and stuff like that, and the sacrifices for him and your mom and stuff like that, and we just talked and figured out a way, and we landed on let's do the online. Let's get involved with that. And when I started talking to him about tournament golf, it may have been him that actually brought it up about wanting to go volunteer, and he was like, he's like, I could get you over to Murfield. I know Paul, Latshaw pretty well. So I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And so, once I did that really set in motion what I wanted to do, was when he, pushed me to do that. And, he starting to learn about the associations and stuff from him, how to get involved and stuff. So he got me into that. And, right away I jumped in with both feet into the Hoosier chapter. And right away I was bam on the board. So yeah, Terry did a great job, just kind of guiding me right at the beginning and getting going and saying, and giving me the confidence to be able to go do that.
So is that something you continue on? Like, are you going after a national board position?
Actually, I am.
Nice. There you go.
So yeah, this coming up here in a few weeks at the show in San Diego, I am on the docket for one of the open positions for the board of directors for the GCSAA.
What's that process like?
Kind of fun, actually. So in my mind, like, it was something I knew I wanted to do, and I was actually going to wait another year to do it. But last year after the election, and I saw how it fell and how some of the stuff went, I thought, sometimes it takes people, 2-3 times running to get on. So I made a choice right then and there that, I'm gonna run next year. If I, have the success and I get voted on, great. That's what I want. If not, at least some of these other people know my name, and they're already getting to know me. So that was my plan heading into for it this year. Once my chapter nominated me and it went through that process, they invite us all to the chapter delegates meeting, back in October to headquarters. So that gives us a chance. Every candidate gets 5 minutes to talk to everybody and kind of give your selling point, talk about why you're involved, why you want to be involved, why you want to be on the board, stuff you've done in your past. So you kind of go through that, give a little introduction, and then you break out into these breakout rooms. So then I'm going to different small groups of maybe around 10 people. And when you go into the room with them, then it's just a grilling session from them. It's questions from them. A lot of it is asking why you want to do this. A lot of it is asking stuff about your club, stuff about your family. And so you go through and you do all those groups and talk to everyone, and that's how that goes. And then after it's up to the nominee what you do from that point to the election. It's a lot of making phone calls to the delegates that were there at the meeting, just to get back in touch with them, see if they still have any questions that may not have got answered at the meeting, or maybe they've already talked to their chapter board, and maybe their chapter board has more questions. So trying to answer questions like that. So still trying to just reach out to people, and kind of give your little bit of a spiel again. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I still got a few more phone calls to make, but I've been through a lot of them. I've gotten a hold of, a handful, and a lot of them I left voicemails. I'll try to get back with them. I think that's the worst part of the process, but it is part of the process with the phone calls and stuff like that. But I knew going into it, since I had been a chapter delegate for a few years, I understood what the process already was. So yeah, hopefully, and I'm lucky that this year there's set with Doug Dykstra stepping down from the board. It kind of opened up 2 spots. So, in a way, there's 4 of us going for 2 spots. So that kind of made the odds a little better. So I'm hoping I get one of those 2 spots. I'm really hoping that it goes through. I feel like I have a good chance, but again, there's a lot of votes out there. So
What's your elevator pitch?
So basically it was basically it's for me, I'm someone that's always been involved. I'm someone that always wants to give back, and one of my pitches is when you think of our association, the GCSAA, I feel like I'm a walking like emblem or whatever of what the association can be for a superintendent. If you do it right, if you take advantages of all of the services that they offer, it's going to benefit you. It's not just the education. It's not just the networking. It's also them helping you out with resumes and stuff like that. Getting career training type stuff that you don't even think about. A lot of people don't realize, you can get health insurance through the association. There's so many things that a lot of people don't know that the association does. And for me, I want to be that person to shine that light, to shine the light to people in the industry that aren't a part of the association, or shine more of a light to especially your smaller budget courses, and letting them realize how beneficial this can be. And just the people you're going to meet and the questions you may have, that they're going to get answered. And it's through being able to go to things like the show, or going to chapter meetings, and just meeting new people. There's so much in this industry that you need to be able to take advantage of. And then there's a lot of people that don't realize it. There's a lot of people that don't really see how much there is behind the scenes of the association. But a lot of people get their eyes open when they become a chapter delegate for the first time. And you go out there and you really see how many people are involved, how much the people that work there at the headquarters care about us individually. They truly do. So for me, and being someone that's always given back, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to volunteer my time to help the association, help members of the association, just keep growing, keep learning, and we're all in this together. And it doesn't matter what type of course you're at. It's the same thing. It's the same struggles. It's the same stress, and it's the same learning, and it's the same growing. So that's kind of my pitch. I love to be involved, and I want everyone to get the benefits of our association, because the benefits are there. And if you put time into it, it's going to put time into you, and it's going to make you better at your job.
Absolutely nailed it. Well, man, we're rooting for you. Best of luck from us. I think you're a pretty smart guy. Seems like you got your shit together, so it's probably not a question of if and more when. You're a young guy, and like you said, it's a great plan of just getting in there. You get it, great. You don't get it, you still get to meet everybody, go through the process. It's only a matter of time you'll be there. So Brian and I were actually talking about the show a little bit earlier. This is going to come out 2 weeks before everybody heads down there. So I'd just love to know your take on maybe some of your favorite things about the show, some of your favorite things to do while you're down there. It is such a big event. You can't do everything. So there's some little pieces that are your favorites?
Yeah, so I really like the welcome reception. Right off the bat, one of your first nights there, and getting able to see everyone, and especially again this year being able to go back on the Midway. That was so cool a couple years ago. Just being able to walk through that and seeing the history of that ship, and the guys, jumping out of the plane and landing on the ship, stuff like that. That was cool. So I really enjoy the welcome reception. I think it's a great way to run into people that you haven't seen in a while. Anytime that you can hear Rhett Evans speak, I think you need to be in that room. He does just an outstanding job, and anytime I hear him talk, I'm more motivated to get back to my job. So I love catching anytime he's talking. And a lot of it just the trade, just walking around the trade show. At first when I was at, Cross Creek and walking around a trade show like that, it was like, oh, I'll never be able to have that. I'll never be able to have that. But now being at a club with a little more of a budget, I'm able to go through there and really, really learn more about the piece of equipment or the piece of technology, and really, really have an understanding of, will this benefit my course, or will it not? Is it worth the money? That type of stuff. So I like spending time walking around there, running into people. I think that's pretty much one of my favorite things about the show is it's not only are we there learning, but it's also a time to relax with people in the industry. And kind of kick back and tell stories of the year, catch up, stuff like that. So that's a lot of stuff I really like about the show. This will be my first year playing in one of the golf events.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm playing in the 4-ball and playing in the scramble. So definitely looking forward to that. I really don't get out and golf much at other courses. I mean, half the time when I'm done working, I don't even want to go out on my own course and play. I want to get in air conditioning. But
who's your 4-ball partner? Who you playing with?
So my partner was supposed to be Joe Tadero. From
Yeah.
University, but some things happen with that, and so now he can't go to the show. So right now I'm partnerless, and I'll probably just take whoever they put me with. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Or if there's anyone hearing this and still looking for a partner,
Opportunity to meet someone new, right?
I can probably go ahead and join and play with you. So I'm looking forward to the golf, and one of the great things is, especially with the show, my wife travels with me to it. So
Nice.
we get to spend some time together, especially, with the past couple of years of her living in Indiana and me in Illinois. It's trips like this that makes it all worth it, and us, getting to spend a little bit of time, and she loves it too. She's met a lot of you guys, and she enjoys being around, my vendors and people from the X-Men group and stuff like that. So she's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the show. I'm excited. I think this year I'm gonna be helping like moderate one of the power hours, so I'll be up on stage for that. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward. I enjoy the show. I'm looking forward to the nice weather of San Diego.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that myself. What you mentioned earlier about some of the career services and whatnot through the GCSAA, and you recently kind of have gone through the interview process. What do you remember about that interview process, and what would be your advice for people looking, and starting that on their own to get their first superintendent job? What kind of advice would you have for them, kind of help them get over that hump?
So I'd say when it comes to the interview process, you know, come in prepared. Um, do some research, kind of have an understanding of the course you're going to. Um, so at first, when it got handed over to me at Cross Creek and they made the change and made me superintendent, when I came in to that meeting, I had a notebook. I had a plan of what I wanted, the changes I thought we could do and the improvements I thought we could do and how I was going to go about it. I came in with that for Cross Creek, and right away, that's what they wanted to see. That I had a plan for a job that I wanted. So going in, having a plan, being confident, and just being yourself. You know, don't try to bullshit. Don't try to say what you think they want to hear. Say what you do. Say how you feel. Say how you run a crew. Be open and honest about it. Ask questions too about things that they're looking for, or that stuff that may be already happening at the course, and if it's something they like or they don't like, and just stuff like that. But to me, it's going into a plan. Like when I came over for my interview with Panther that night, when we got back in the vehicle, me and my wife, like we looked at each other and like we both kind of had that nod, like you got it. Like we had that feeling that it went that well, and I felt confident that it went that well. So it's, yeah, you got to have the confidence. You got to believe whatever job you're going for, you're going to be able to do that job, and not only do the job, you got to do it better than what they're expecting. You got to, everything you're saying you're going to bring, you got to bring that and more. And, that's again, that's just a mindset of me. I want to win. That's a mentality I have. I want to win. I want to be the best. I want to go as far as I can. Um, so having that confidence, being prepared, and just being honest. I think you go into a interview like that, you're going to have some better odds.
Oh, Brandon, we can't thank you enough for doing this, man. There's been so many great pieces of advice and little tidbits and stuff through this whole interview. I know people are going to learn a thing or two. I certainly have from you. So we don't usually get into too many crazy stories, but there was one that was a little bit memorable for you on the course this year, and we'd love for you to share that one with us.
Yeah. So this year, I had an employee save another employee's life. We're lucky that our equipment manager is also a certified EMT. He volunteers for the fire department and stuff like that. So we had one of our guys, they were out doing bunkers, and he got to about hole 2, and he wasn't feeling right. He was just, his chest was hurting, stuff like that. And he was somewhat younger. I think he's 31 years old. So Dan, one of my assistants, kind of was with him and brought him back into the shop and got him to our equipment manager, Jeff. And Jeff just kind of started looking him over, hooked him up. We have a blood pressure machine here. Hooked him up to that, and started asking him questions. And at first, he kind of went through and was doing all the tests for like a stroke. And so he was like, you're not having a stroke. He's like, but some of the other stuff, he's like, I really feel that we need to call someone, have them come check you. And at the time, the guy was like, no, because he didn't want to go to the hospital. He didn't want to have to deal with, stuff like that, bills. And we told him, we're like, no, if they come, they just come. Like, it doesn't mean you have to go with them, and it'll be nothing. So the EMS, they come, they start checking him out. They told him that they were like, they felt that he needed to go with them. And he fought it and fought it and fought it. And finally we were able to talk him into going. So he got to the hospital. They ran some tests. He was wanting to leave. Then he got upset because they wanted him to stay overnight. Well, luckily he did, because he was having a heart attack. And it was in the spot of what it would have been the Widowmaker. He had 80% blockage in his artery. So, and so luckily, he got through it. They put a couple stents in that artery for him. He's doing well. He's back to work. Well, right now laid off, but he came back to work about a month later, and we started him out really slow with stuff. But yeah, if it wasn't for for our mechanic, kind of going through everything and basically telling him, we need someone to come check you out. This isn't right. That saved his life. And I was so grateful that I have someone like my mechanic, because he's only been doing this for a couple of years now. I think he got here the year before I did. But the way he's learned and grown, and not only puts his time into this job, but put his time into getting certified as an EMT, he's just been a great addition to this club. And, I'm just very grateful he was here and was able to save his life. So.
That's
incredible.
crazy.
Incredible. Yeah. Brian, I don't know if we've ever talked about that on the show before, but having somebody on your crew that's certified in first aid or CPR or knows how to use a defibrillator, that is huge. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you should have a crew working around equipment and in the heat and all that kind of stuff, and not have somebody who knows, when to make that phone call, to know the signs, to, like I said, know how to use a defibrillator. Like, that could save somebody's life. So that is incredible, and encourage anybody out there that maybe doesn't have that at their course to look into getting that, because that's huge.
Yeah. And like me, I'm CPR, AED, certified, and that stuff. I know how to use it, but I wouldn't have really known what to do in that situation. And luckily I had someone that knew what to do and took control, and, and everything came out good. So.
I think in a lot of other scenarios, they just would have said, okay, yeah, go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's huge that someone recognized those signs.
And what was great was having that, because back in my early 20s, I dealt with stuff when I had a stroke and I had a heart attack in my early 20s, just from some random blood clots. And when I had the heart attack, I was on a job site, and they, we were thinking it was heat exhaustion, because it was one of the hottest days in August. We were kind of down in a basement pouring a floor and stuff. And they kind of sent me home. And luckily, when I was heading home, I kind of, phoned my mother and was like, hey, this is going on. I'm not feeling right. And so she came up, and I lived right across the road from the hospital. And as soon as I got into the hospital, it was boom, it happened, it hit. So yeah, being able to have someone on staff that has an understanding of just the most basic first aid, the basic life-saving techniques, it's definitely important. So yeah, I definitely, if you're at a course and right now, and there's no one on your staff that knows how to run an AED or CPR, you need to get that done, because anything could happen on any given day out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brandon, we very much appreciate your time. This has been an awesome show. But before we let you go, just want to open up the floor if there's anything else you want to talk about that we haven't covered.
I want to say thank you for having me on the show. I listen to it, you guys, all the time. It's awesome. And it's stuff like this that we need in our industry. The podcasts, the stuff you're doing with your superintendent network, the stories, because that's what our industry is. We are full of stories. We are full of, great moments. We're full of bad moments, but there's stories out there, and everything in our industry leads us to being better at what we do. Even when you're kicked down and you feel like you can't do it anymore, all it takes is one good day out on the course, and you realize, yeah, this is why I do it. This is why I love my job.
That's always the message we have here. We just want to keep building and keep people, enjoying the industry and being comfortable here and having fun, because it's a hardworking industry, but we got to enjoy ourselves too. So,
all right, buddy. Well, hey, great to see you. Look forward to connecting again in San Diego here in a couple of weeks.
Yep, sounds good, Brian.
All right, man.
Yeah.
We're going to
awesome.
whoop up on you in the 4-ball too, so be careful.
All right.
Coming for you.
That's it.
All right.
All right, man. Be good.
Yep.
Take care, Brandon.
We'll see you guys.
There we go.
Another great guy. My goodness.
Yeah, that was great. Had some awesome stories. It's always fun to hear stories from the old hometown, and just kind of, it's always, just in general, love hearing stories about people's path into the industry and development and furthering themselves. So he's definitely taken the bull by its horns and just kind of done a lot of it on his own and reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah. I think just like we were talking about before he came on, about kind of taking that first step and breaking the barrier and just doing it. A few times in his career, he's had to just say, you know what, I got to go. I got to do this. Got to buckle up and just go. And it's made him successful. And he talked about his upbringing and, that hard work and everything. And if you don't have that as a young kid, it is something you have to develop. And if you're in this industry, you're working hard, because you won't last long if you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It is funny listening to, wrestling in our little hometown it's huge, man.
Is it?
So,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's huge. So yeah, I love hearing the stories about being involved with that. And I didn't realize he did some rankings for women's wrestling. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's cool to hear when guys have different passions outside the industry, because you're so busy being a superintendent. So to find time to do other things is nice. You gotta have extra stuff that you enjoy doing.
Yep.
Well, another good one.
Yes, sir. Another good one. And we've got a couple other good ones in the works. So,
all right, buddy.
All right, man. Well, have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you.
And as always, a huge shout out to our sponsors on this episode: Toro, the Andersons, and Flash Weather AI. Just want to leave everybody with a little quote today. I couldn't wait for the sun to come up the next morning so that I could get out on the golf course again. And that comes from the great Ben Hogan. And I feel like we can all relate to that a little bit, because there's nothing better than just getting out there again on that golf course. Hope everybody has a great week. Keep those reels sharp. We'll be back.